Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this crochet crop top. I have two of them here. This is the first one. I just finished this. It's really cute. Sorry, this is what it looks like. Laying flat, but it's pretty simple. We just have the two triangle cups. I decided to use 3 different colors for the stripes, and then we have the back side where the straps come up, they cross over your shoulders, and then they lace up the back like a corset, and then they tie down here in a bow. But these stripes just continue all the way around the sides. The top connects in the middle. So here is this one. And then I also have made this one. This was my first one that I ever made. I do want to say this one is a medium. I'm also going to be making a medium in the tutorial. I'm going to have extra sizing information in the description. But this design is very customizable depending on how long you want to make it and then how wide you want to make it. You can just basically add chains for length, add rows for width. I'll explain that more in depth in the tutorial. But yeah, you can change the sizing on this and it's pretty simple, like I said. But let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so here are all the supplies that you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need some scissors. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. This is a Clover or More hook. You can find them at Joann's and Michael's. You're also going to need a yarn needle of some sort. I'm going to be using worsted weight yarn. That's a category 4 yarn. All of these are Lily Sugar and Cream. I definitely would recommend using a cotton yarn for this project. If you don't have any cotton yarn, you can obviously use acrylic. But yeah, just as long as it's a 4 weight, that will work. But this color is called Jade Mist. This color is just called Teal, and this is obviously just white. So these are the colors that I'm using. I have always done just a 3-color combo. You can obviously make it all a solid color. You can do 2 colors, you can do 3 colors, you can do 4, 5, 6, however many colors you want. So I brought my top back, and that is because the first thing we need to do is we need to find out how long to make our starting chain, which is actually going to be from here to here. So basically all you have to do is like measure on your own body. So on your chest, just find the peak or the center point, if you will, and start your ruler there. Or actually a tape measure would be better, but I'm just going to show you with a ruler. Put your tape measure at the center of your chest, and then measure down going towards your waist or your hips. And then we're just going to measure, and then you can stop measuring wherever you want your top to end. So I wanted my top to end right around the bottom of my rib cage. So I measured on my own body, and for myself that was about 6 inches. Like I said, this is super customizable, so you can make this top longer, you can make it shorter, you know, you can do whatever you want. So my measurement is 6 inches, and that's how long we are going to make my starting chain. Okay, so I'm starting with my teal color. I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm gonna put it on my hook. And like I said before, I'm going to make a starting chain of about 6 inches. Okay, so after you have your starting chain, we're gonna start making our cup. What you're gonna need to do for your cup is we're going to take our chain, we're gonna turn it, and we're gonna start crocheting through these back loops. So we're gonna skip the first one because we can't really go into this one very easily, and we're gonna go into this one right here. The back loop of our chains. And I'm gonna place a single crochet. And I'm gonna continue into my back loops with my single crochets all the way up my chain until I get to the last one. All right, I went all the way across. I have one chain left. I'm gonna go ahead and go through that back loop. I'm gonna do my first single crochet, and I'm actually gonna do 2 more in this same spot. So that's 1. I'm gonna do my second one, and if this is your first time making a cup, I recommend you mark this center stitch, which will be your second one. Like put a stitch marker there. And then I'm going to put in a third one. Same spot. So that was 1, 2, 3, all into the same hole. And that also kind of brought me around in a half circle. So this is what we're looking like. So now I'm going to start single crocheting down the other side of my base chain, which actually just looks like the regular tops of stitches. Like it looks the same. So I'm going to go into my next space, which is going to be, I know it's a little hard to see. This is the hole that we just went into. This right here is the next one. And these might be a little bit tight, but that also might just be my tension. As I'm crocheting down this side, I'm also going to be holding my initial waist yarn, and I'm going to be crocheting over that the whole time so that I don't have to weave it in later. Okay, so this is my last stitch. And there's our first row. So now I'm going to change colors. This yarn right here, I have already crocheted over it all the way from this point to this point. So I'm just going to cut it off. You may not have any left over if your yarn wasn't long enough in the first place. So I'm actually just gonna snip it like all the way down so that there is none left. And then with the yarn that is still connected to the ball, At this point, I'm going to cut that off with about 3 to 4 inches left to weave in. We still have the loop on our hook from our last stitch. The next color I'm going to bring in is the jade color, and I'm going to show you guys how I change my colors in this project and also weave in my ends as I go. I don't actually weave them in, I just crochet over them, but I'm going to take my new jade color and I'm going to fold it over to where I have about a 3 to 4 inch tail, just like we have here. I'm gonna put that loop on my hook and I'm gonna pull it through my last loop. After that, I'm gonna take this teal yarn, tighten the loop down, and then I'm gonna turn my work. I'm gonna lay this teal yarn down on top of my work because I'm gonna crochet over it. And then I'm gonna pick up my working yarn with my jade color and I'm going to start crocheting. This one we're just gonna leave it here because we're gonna get it on the next row. That may have been a little bit confusing, but just rewind it, watch it again. I'm also gonna show you multiple times throughout the process. If this loop is a little bit loose, it's okay because you can always pull this. It'll tighten it down. But anyway, like I said, we will just start the single crochets and make sure you're holding your cutoff piece of the last color you're using to crochet over. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to be crocheting all the way up to the top of my cup where I did the 3 stitches at the top in my last row. In the center stitch, you may have a stitch marker. We're going to do 3 stitches again in the same spot. Alright, so I've made it to my center stitch in the top. I'm going to put my 3 stitches right into that center stitch. So we're going to do 1, we're going to do 2 in the same spot, and we're going to do 3. If you want, you can move up your stitch marker to the second spot, and we'll just continue right along down the other side. Alright, so that was the end of that row. For each color, I'm going to be doing 2 rows, so I'm just going to turn my work, and I'm going to do another row of this jade color. Every row on the cups is going to be the same. We're going to single crochet up to the center, put 3 stitches in the center, and single crochet back down the other side. Alright, so here I am at the center top. I'm doing 3 stitches in my center stitch, That is 1. That's 2. And that is 3, all in the same spot. And I'm just gonna continue with my single crochets down the other side. Once I get to about here, we're gonna stop so I can show you how to bring in this end and crochet over it. So this is actually really simple. Once you are close enough to the end and your piece reaches your work, literally just flip it up and over so that it's laying on top of your workable stitches and start crocheting over it so that it's held in place. You can come back and trim off the extra piece later. Here's the last stitch. Here's how it looks on the ends. And then, like I said, I just come back and cut this off. Okay, so that's my 2 rows. I'm gonna cut this off, 3.5, 4 inches. I'm gonna be switching to my white now. I will show you guys how to switch the colors again, because I know it can be a little confusing. But I just cut off the yarn regular. I still have the loop from my last stitch on my hook. Now I'm going to grab my white yarn. I'm gonna fold it over just to create a little loop and make sure that I have enough yarn left, 3 or 4 inches, to weave in later or crochet over later. I'm gonna put that loop on my hook. I'm gonna pull it through the loop on my hook currently. I'm gonna pull that down, tighten it up. And then I'm going to turn my work. Take this piece of yarn and lay it flat across my stitches so that I can crochet over it. I'm going to grab my working piece of white yarn and start crocheting with that. And we'll leave the short piece of white yarn dangling so that we can grab it on the second row coming back, just like we did with the teal. But I do want to show you, like I said, my first stitch was too big right here, and I wanted to tell you, don't worry about that, because like I said, all you have to do is pull on this white thread a little bit, and that will tighten the top loop up. So even if your starting is too big, don't worry about it, because you can always tighten it up. Obviously this row is going to be no different than the others. I just made it to the top, so I'm going to put 3 in my center. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to start working my way down the other side. Okay, there's the end of that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it, start the next row. Once you start getting close to the bottom, make sure you flip up that white end so that we can crochet over that. All right, I'm gonna cut this off. And then from here on out, the rows are pretty much just repeating until you have the right size to cover your body. I will put a general size guide if you're making this for somebody else, but for me, myself, I am a size medium, which is like a B cup, C cup range. I am going to do 14 rows. The 14 rows, you're actually gonna end with one of the colors as a single row instead of a double row, and that's because we started with a single row here in the center, and that's so that they could all be an even size, but we're gonna put an outline on it at the end, so then they'll all end up looking the same anyway. But yes, so I'm gonna go do those 14 rows with all the color changes, and I'll come back. All right, so here's my cup. I just did my 7 rows. Like I said, ending, I just have one singular row of my last color. Make sure whenever you are counting, you're starting at the center and counting outwards. Sorry, actually this is gonna be 14 rows. But yeah, so just start at your center and count outwards. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. At this point, we're gonna have to make another cup, so you can go ahead and start that. But while you're making the second cup, you're just gonna stop before you do the last row, because in the last row, we're actually gonna be connecting the 2 cups in the center, just in the last row. So just do your cup all the way up until the last row. Once you get to the last row, go ahead and come back to the video, and then I'll show you how to do the last row and connect them as we go. So here I have done my second cup up until just before the last row. So I've done 13 rows. We are going to start the last row, and we're actually going to connect the 2 cups in the center right here. You can lay the cups next to each other, and you can just basically find out how many stitches you want to put together. You can just lay them next to each other like this, find out where they naturally want to part, and put a stitch marker there. Obviously make sure you count and have an even amount of stitches on both sides. I just know from the other 2 tops that I made that for me that's going to be 16 stitches. But yeah, you can make it as low or as high as you want of a connection. If you want a deep V, you can make it pretty low. If you want lots of coverage, you can make the connection pretty high. I'm going to switch my colors just like we have been doing regularly. But I'm going to line up my cups. I'm actually going to zoom you guys in so that you can see it. better. So make sure both your cups are facing the same way. We're gonna start doing single crochets, and we're gonna connect them going up the center. So I'm on my first cup. I'm gonna start doing my first single crochet, but I'm not gonna finish it all the way. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna yarn over, pull through. And before I finish my last pull through, I'm actually gonna go through my first single crochet on this side, just the top of it, if you can see. I'm gonna grab my yarn. I'm gonna yarn over, and now I'm gonna pull through all 3 to finish that single crochet. So we're gonna pull through that single crochet we were just in, pull through the 2 loops on our hook, and that will connect our first single crochet with the first single crochet on this side. We're gonna do this all the way up. So I'm gonna do my second stitch. We're gonna go through, yarn over, pull through. We're gonna go through the top of the second stitch on our other cup. We're gonna yarn over. We're gonna pull through all 3 things on our hook to finish off the stitch. So go through on this side, yarn over, pull through, go through on this side, yarn over, pull through everything. 1, 2, 3. Go through this side, yarn over, pull through, go through this side, yarn over, pull through everything. This side, yarn over, pull through. This side, yarn over, pull through everything. And as it works up, you can see this is what it will look like. So it'll have the single crochets on both sides, and then it will have a nice like top braid looking part to it. So like I said, I'm going to do this for a total of 16 stitches, working my way up. You don't have to do 16 stitches, that's just what I'm gonna do. You can do as many or as few as you want. There is my 16 stitches. Here's what it looks like finished. After you have finished your connection, you're just gonna continue the row with the single crochets. Just like normal. Going up to the center, doing 3 in the top, and going back down the other side. Once I get back down to the other side, we are not going to cut it off because I'm actually going to continue to the side extension piece from there. All right, so here I am coming back down to the end. I'm not cutting off my yarn because I'm going to keep going here and create a side piece that wraps around my side and onto my back. But if you don't want the side pieces, you can go ahead and cut that off. and then skip forward to where we do the outline and the straps. But to continue the pattern of doing 2 rows of each color, I'm going to go ahead and turn my work and do a second row of the jade color. And I'm gonna make my side panels just the same width as my center join, which is 16 stitches. So I'm just gonna work up 16 single crochets. All right, so there are my 16 single crochets. I'm gonna switch colors, so I'm gonna cut this off. My next color is white, so I'm gonna grab that. Go ahead and switch over. And the side extensions are pretty straightforward. It's just going to be rows of single crochet. I'm going to follow the pattern of the stripes. You don't have to. You could just make it a solid color if you wanted. I'm going to make mine 17 rows, just following what I did on my other 2 tops that I've already made. You can make these as long or as short as you want. But I'm gonna go ahead and make 17 rows straight out of single crochets. Nothing too crazy. All right, so here it is after the 17 rows of just single crochets straight out from the side. And that will obviously wrap around later. But I want to do the same thing on the other side of my cups. So first of all, I need to make my second row of this color. So I'm going to make a slip knot, put it on my hook. I'm going to count up 16 stitches. And then I'll start there. Place a single crochet, and that's where we will begin the row. I'm going to be changing colors every 2 rows and doing a total of 17 rows of just regular single crochet, just like I did on the other side. Alright, so here's what my top looks like after I finish both of my side extensions, the 17 rows of the regular single crochets. I did mine in stripes. And at this point we're going to do our outline and the straps. I am going to choose to do it in my jade color. so that I can end by having 2 rows of the jade color so that all of the stripes match up to be the same width. You don't obviously have to do that. But I am going to take my outline color, I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm gonna put that on my hook. You can start your outline pretty much anywhere, but I'm just going to start it. I usually start it on one of my side pieces at the top, so like over here or over here. If you don't have your side pieces, you can just start it like somewhere in the side area. But we're just going to be single crocheting around all of our edges pretty much. So I'm just going to pick a spot and place a single crochet. My first one. And I'll just continue along the edge. Just like that. Whenever I get to the corner, I'm going to do 3 single crochets, so that's 1. I'm gonna do 2 and a 3rd one to turn my corner, and then I will continue down the other side. I have an end here, so I'm just gonna crochet over that as I go. Once again, in the other corner, I'm going to be doing 3 single crochets to turn my work. 1, 2, and here's my 3rd. And then I'll continue with my single crochets starting across the bottom here. We started here, went up, around, now we're gonna start going across. So same thing is going to happen over here in these corners. We're going to put 3 single crochets and continue up the other side. I just want to show you, I just came up through here. I am turning the inner corner. I didn't do anything to turn it. I just kept crocheting, got to the corner, started crocheting up the side of my cup. I'm going to be crocheting all the way up until I get to my top center stitch. I'm going to stop there and we're going to start these straps. So here we are at my top center stitch. It's this one right here. I'm actually going to crochet into my center stitch, just 1. And then from there, I'm going to start chaining. And for my size, I need to chain about 50 inches for my straps. Your strap length might depend on your size, how long you made your sides. If your sides are longer, your straps probably don't need to be that long. If you didn't put any sides on it at all, your straps might need to be a little bit longer. Kind of just like test it out, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and chain a length of 50 inches, and then I will come back. We're going to be slip stitching back down the chain, so do not cut off your yarn. Alright, so I have my chain finished here, but I'm going to show you how we're going to double back on this chain and do a slip stitch on it. Alright, so once you have reached the end of your chain, you're going to turn back and you're going to insert your hook into the first chain. You're going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through again. That'll be your first slip stitch. And we're just going to do this all the way down the chain. So I'll go into the next one, yarn over, pull through, pull through. Go into the next one, yarn over, pull through, pull through. And I'm going to do this all the way down until I get back to the first chain. Alright, so this is my last chain here, so I'm going to do my last slip stitch. And then to continue, I'm just going to single crochet right into my top stitch where we already did our last single crochet. So right into this hole here. That's what it's going to look like. And then we'll continue crocheting down towards the center of our cups. Once we get down towards the center, we are going to be doing a single crochet 2 together in our 2 like middle stitches here. So in this one, I'm going to go in, yarn over, pull through, and then on the other side, I'll pick up the first one, yarn over, pull through. Then I'll yarn over again, pull through all 3. And that kind of just brings everything together a little bit. And then we'll keep crocheting up this side. So put 1 single crochet in our top stitch. Now I'm going to start chaining, and I'm going to make this chain the same length as I made my other chain. Alright, now that I have my second chain done, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to slip stitch all the way back down that. Once I get back down to the beginning, I'm going to single crochet back down the other side of my cup, and then we should just join right back up where we started, and we are almost done. Alright, so I just crocheted all the way down, and I met right at the beginning where we started, so I'm going to cut off my yarn. I'm going to pull it straight up and out, And then I'm going to thread it on my needle. Then I'm going to take my needle and go through the top of my first stitch, go under the first 2 loops, and then you're going to come back and you're going to go down inside the last loop right here. And that will connect the top of your stitches so that it looks seamless all the way across. On the front, I will just tuck this behind like that. On the back, I'm going to go ahead and tie them together. After I've tied them together, I'm going to put them back on my needle and I'm going to weave both of these ends in and we will be almost finished. Alright, so we got all of our ends tucked in and our straps are done. So last but not least, we need to lace up our project and then you can put this baby on. So I'm going to grab this strap and I will go to the opposite side. I'll start at the top corner. I always use my hook and I just pull it through. Gonna do the same thing with the other one. Grab your other strap, go to the opposite corner. Grab it with your hook and pull it through. And then I'm going to lace them up once in the middle. And to find the middle, I usually just fold it in half, find a middle point, and stick my hook through there. Alright, so there's those two, and then the last one will be the bottom corner. Alright, so that's it, and at this point you can just tie these in a bow. And there is the finished top. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I really appreciate you guys. If you liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. If you made this top and are posting it on social media, don't forget to tag me. All of those links are going to be down in the description. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so that I can make more content for you guys. And yeah, just be on the lookout for my next tutorial. Thank you guys. Before I go, my boyfriend just posted a new video where I played Elden Ring for him, and it was really funny and I liked it a lot. So I am going to link that at the end of this video. If you guys want to go watch that and support his channel, that would be awesome. But once again, thank you all for being here. Love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Toodles!